Hello everyone, my name is Eloise Thatcher and I'm here today with my colleague Andy Moore from Frazer-Nash Consultancy to talk about improvements to the energy system digital twin visual demonstrator, which we showcased at the Gemini call last year. So last year, in partnership with the Alan Turing Institute and Cityscape Digital, Energy Systems Catapult delivered an energy system digital twin visual demonstrator as part of a project funded by the BEIS modelling team. To decarbonise the energy system by the year 2050, it's crucial that decision makers are equipped with the insights that they need to ensure their decisions are effective and influential. Digital twins have long been spoken about as one of the key solutions benefiting from the increased digitalisation of systems, empowering their users and the information and insights they need to make more informed decisions. This project explored the feasibility of creating a digital twin of the UK's entire energy system, which would be able to provide in-depth analytical information on the system, whilst also being easy to interact with for both technical and non-technical users. So the visual demonstrator vividly shows the impact that policy decisions are likely to have on the decarbonisation of domestic properties. However, the static data set that we used was manipulated to provide the illusion of dynamic data. The demonstrator showed that there was potential for such a digital twin, but that was just the first step on a longer journey. So as part of Innovate UK's cyber physical infrastructure project, we've brought Frazer-Nash on board to help understand how the uncertainty in the dataset can be quantified and illustrated in order to empower decision makers to make those decisions despite not having all the information. So today we'd like to update you on our progress, and I'm going to hand over to Andy to take you through the details.
Thanks, Eloise. So hi everyone, I'm Andy from Frazer-Nash. So I'll start by talking through a bit of the context for this new stage in the project, and then I'll try and hint at some of the features we've been developing over the last few months or so. So really, what is this project all about? We're trying to maximise the usefulness of digital twins to policymakers. And I guess I'm probably preaching at the crowd here on a digital twin Gemini call about the benefits of digital twins, but I guess in a policy context, the benefits could be massive, couldn't they? Because if we can make it even a tiny improvement, we could achieve net zero, for example, a little bit sooner or cheaper. I guess on the flip side, if we don't make the best decisions we can as policymakers, then actually it could cost us as society a lot more money, and it's our tax money that goes into that cost. And there could be a huge opportunity cost of something that we could have done that we didn't. So what's the problem right now? This is a really simple schematic and illustration of a kind of typical digital twin setup for policymakers. You've got on the left some version of reality, information and data flowing from the real world into a digital twin. Policymakers can look at that or some version of that, make some decisions, and then ideally make the best decisions to impact and realise the benefits that they want to happen in real life. Except I don't think that's what's actually happening with a lot of digital twins today, or at least in some of them. And so I think there is potential for improvement. In the real world, on the left, we actually have lots and lots of complexity, ambiguity, and things going on. There's missing data feeds going into your digital twin. There's lots of dynamic processes happening all the time. There's uncertainty, complexity. And then the information you get pass through the digital twin to the policy users isn't necessarily as transparent as it always could be. They're not always seeing the full version of events. And so with all the stakeholder community that they've got to try and communicate their intended outcomes to, can they really always make the best decisions? And are those benefits going to land properly when they're implemented? So our challenge for this project then is to try to expose some of that messy real world complexity using the use case of our home decarbonisation visual twin demonstrator from the first stage of the project. And I say that's our use case. I think some of the stuff that we're developing actually hopefully will apply to lots of different policy digital twins in the future. So our measure of success here is, can the techniques that we're developing try and inspire some other developments in other policy digital twins? So how are we going to do that? I think a policy digital twin is really trying to do the same things as digital twins that work really successfully in other contexts like engineering, technology, or complex programs. They're trying to help people to understand, design, manage, or predict some kind of an outcome better. And in those contexts, one method that's worked really well is probabilistic modelling of the uncertainty that's going on in the real world. So we've just nicked some of those ideas and tried to apply them to this visual twin demonstrator. And what we've done the first thing we did was to try and redevelop the underpinning model behind everything to be a probabilistic graphical model of decarbonisation of people's homes. So it's probabilistic because every component of the model has uncertainty in it. So the answer you get out is uncertain and exposes that real world complexity and uncertainty. And it's graphical because we can represent it as a series of nodes for the components in the model and edges for the relationships in between. And if we do this work right, then hopefully what we've done is turn what could potentially sometimes be a bit of an opaque black box digital twin in a bit more of a window into what the real world is like, to help policymakers make better decisions that will land a bit more successfully, compare different options and things like that. So here's a quick run through of a few of the new features we've developed. The first one is the ability to really easily compare different policy options and outcomes. So in the first version of this project last year, there was you could input a single series of policy options and have a look at the outcome. Here now we're comparing multiple policies against each other. So here's just a few boxes. This is not the front end that we're going to show you next week of the new tool. This is just a few examples of the things we've developed. There's something called the curtain view on the map, where we're allowing you to slide left and right to see the outcome of a policy change and the distributional effects across the UK and how that differs. Things like the understanding when you're going to achieve home decarbonisation net zero, as well, is now a probabilistic output. So you can see this uncertainty band of when we're predicting using the model you're going to try and achieve net zero. The second thing we've done is try and help people to explore how outcome confidence can be used to answer different kinds of questions. And we developed something we're calling the confidence filter, which is really a 4-box filtering option on the map view that we've got. So you can either select to see the regions of really high progress towards net zero, high impact, and you've got high confidence in, or maybe you're looking at areas of low confidence or somewhere in between. And you can ask different kinds of questions using this information. Even you might want to look at where do we not have high confidence that we're going to make a difference, and so you might want to adapt your policy based on that, or you can do something subtly different. The final thing we're going to show people is explaining the logic behind the outcomes of the model. And here we're using that graph that we've developed to show the outcomes graphically and say, well, you've got this answer, but how did you arrive at that? And we can trace that back through the decision logic in our graphical model. What we're going to do next week is show you also some updates to the 3D modelling that our colleagues at Cityscape have done as well. So I won't dwell on that now, but you'll have to come to our event next week on Tuesday to come and see some of that. Back to you, Eloise.
Thanks, Andy. So that's a little taster of the work that we've been doing, and we would like to invite you all to the launch event that we're hosting next week, which will consist of a run through of the augmented visual interface and a panel discussion with some of the team. So I'll pop the registration link in the chat. Please do come along. And in terms of questions for today's session, we'd be really interested to hear your initial thoughts, which feature is most interesting to you, and would any of them be useful additions to the digital twins that you're working with?